Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. Well, I hope everybody is asking just what the hell is going on. You see this Chinese balloon allowed to float over the United States, and they couldn't shoot it down because they were worried about it falling out and causing ground casualties. Do they really expect us to believe that they could not drop this thing way back in Montana over any kind of open pastures or anything like that? Do you really expect us to believe that? Folks, all of us Americans, Democrats, Republicans, black, white, brown, yellow, all of us better start asking what the hell's going on. Because what the government is doing right now is they're telling you that, oh, Donald Trump is bad, or Joe Biden is bad. Republicans are bad, the Democrats are bad, the black people are bad, the white people are bad. It's all a distraction, folks. It's all a distraction. They want everybody to believe that this white supremacy is the fault for everything. But while they're causing people to look at each other in a negative light here in America, in our own country, the Chinese are coming in and taking over everything. I'm not going to make this up. You can look it up yourself. They're buying thousands and thousands of acres of the farmlands. Over a dozen food processing and distribution plants in the United States, major ones, have been destroyed. Two of them, one in Georgia and the other one, I don't remember where it was, there was a plane crash that actually crashed right into the food distribution plant or the processing plant or whatever kind of plant it was, but major food distribution plants. Two plane crashes into two distribution plants in separate areas of the country. Coincidence? Well, you don't need a tinfoil hat to figure out what's going on. There was a fire in a chicken place. I don't know the locations of where these things happen. But over 35,000 chickens perished in a fire in a chicken processing plant. The feed that they're feeding the chickens is causing the chickens to stop laying eggs. Are you asking yourself yet why are eggs over $5 a gallon? I'm sorry, $5 a dozen? Are you asking yourself that yet? So they stopped the oil production in the country, and now gas is over $5 a gallon. Chickens can't lay the eggs anymore because of the feed, so you got to pay $5 a dozen for the eggs. But all of these things are considered to be random acts or God or whatever they want to call it. But nobody's paying attention to it because they're too busy having us point fingers at each other. They want us to believe that the black people are the problem, or the white people are the problem, or the queers are the problem. Folks, while we're busy pointing fingers at each other, the people in charge of the government that's actually being run by the globalists, they're actually ones running the government. It's not that geriatric moron in the White House. He ain't running nothing. Or his assistant over there, the sidekick, the giggling fool. She's just a moron. They're not running the show. So who's running the government? And the big question is, why is our intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies at the top levels allowing this to happen? Why? Why is the FBI and the CIA trying to tell everybody that Donald Trump is the problem? Donald Trump is the problem. Look, I'm not going to lie, I'm a Trump supporter. But why? Because Trump says, I want America first. When he had classified documents in his home, they raided his homes in the pre-dawn hours with guns drawn, the FBI agents, and they scattered documents all over the floor and said that, well, that's the way Trump left it. He's an irresponsible fool. The guy's a runs a multi-billion-dollar enterprise around the world, a chain of hotels, and who knows what else he's got, and golf courses and everything else. And that's the way he would treat his classified documents. But folks, understand something. While they're saying that his classified documents were at risk to the national security, they were protected in the Mar-a-Lago estate by the Secret Service. Nobody gets in there. Nobody gets in there unless they want them to get in there. They were there months earlier, and they knew they were there. They saw the documents. They talked to President Trump about it, and they requested him to put a lock on the door, which he did. But that didn't matter. He was cooperating, but that didn't matter. But they raided his house in the pre-dawn hours. But then when this guy that they call President Biden has classified documents all over the place, in the Penn Biden Center, in his beach home, in his other home, and all over the place. And who the heck knows where these documents are? But what they did then is they allowed his lawyers, get this, the people that Biden pays to protect his interests, his lawyers, they allowed his lawyers to go in there and go and take the documents out and remove the documents. Then after they did a sweep of the whole place and said, well, we're going to secure the documents, which they had no clearance to do in the first place. These people had no clearance to get these documents, these lawyers. They don't have national security clearance, but they allowed them to go in there and do this. And then the FBI just makes it look like, well, we're going to go in there and we're going to do the right thing. We're going to raid President Biden's home. So they gave him a couple of days' notice and told him, well, we're going to go over there and we're going to raid your home. They didn't raid it in pre-dawn hours in a surprise raid. Nobody raided his home. Nobody raided Hunter Biden's home. Now, Hunter Biden was supposed to be living in these houses, where in Biden's houses, they're with these classified documents, and we still haven't seen the journals of who's coming and going at the estate for the past couple of months or years or whatever it has been. Some of these documents go way back to when he was in the Senate. Our Department of Justice is not any longer a Department of Justice. It's just a wing of the Socialist Democrat Party, a protective wing. Their job right now is to protect the Democrat socialists in charge. All these globalists, they're the ones that are paying these people probably. And I don't care what you say, Republicans or Democrats, it doesn't really matter anymore because they're all at the same feeding trough getting the money from the same people. The Republicans right now are in charge of the Congress, make it look like, oh, we're going to really do something, Well, you know what? I'm still waiting. I don't hear any talk about impeachment, from impeaching Biden yet. I don't hear any talk like that. Regardless of how many times he has violated national security and probably guilty of treason in many cases, no talk of impeachment about him. Mostly because they're probably afraid that if they get him out of there, they got to deal with that other moron, for the vice president. She's a complete moron. She has no idea what the hell's going on. If she doesn't have the answer, she giggles. So, folks, don't be distracted by what's going on. When they say, look over there, look over there. And you know what? There's nothing over there because it's over here. The racism that they're talking about at the street level does not exist. But they're going out of their way to say there's white supremacy. Where is the evidence of the white supremacy? Do you see any real evidence of white supremacy going on? No. But they want you to believe that the cops are bad. They want you to defund the police department. The cops are bad because there's a couple of bad cops out there that did some bad shootings, and a couple of cops that did some good shootings that people needed to be shot. But they say all the cops are bad. But meanwhile, thousands and thousands of black people are being slaughtered in the streets. People can't send their kids out for a quart of milk at night because they're afraid they may never come back. Things are very, very bad in Chicago, Baltimore, Los Angeles, all of these places. But no, they're fine with allowing 7 million people to cross illegally into the border, over the border, and they put them up in hotels, give them food stamps, they give them free health care. I don't get free health care. They get free health care and housing. Folks, you better ask yourselves what's going on. This country is in a lot of trouble right now, especially with what's going on with China. This thing with the balloon was a test. You know, the balloon passed over all of our very sensitive military bases, nuclear bases and military bases, and they didn't shoot this thing down until it got passed over, who knows, Cherry Point or whatever the Marine Corps bases are over there, other Marine Corps bases over there on the East Coast. After they passed over their bases, and they traversed the entire country over all these military sites, and they couldn't shoot it down until it got over the ocean. Folks, somebody should be held accountable for treason just for that. They allowed that to happen. Don't tell me there was no way to bring that balloon down sooner, and they were worried about casualties on the ground. Nobody knows. So let's say that, what if, let's do what if for a moment. What if this balloon that they shot down had a nuclear bomb attached to it and was allowed to fly over our country and maybe even drop it on the Pentagon or the Capitol? This is a test, folks. This is a test to see our reaction, and we didn't have one. If this was an attack, a nuclear attack by balloon from the Chinese, who knows? Who knows? If something like that was to drop on the Pentagon, and it would completely cut off the military capability in this country. But nobody's taking it serious. Nobody's taking it serious. Ask the president. Nobody's asking the president, why the heck didn't you shoot this thing down? It's a dereliction of duty, just like allowing the people to cross over the border. It's a dereliction of duty. Sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, and you're not doing it. Republicans, Democrats, black, white, green, yellow, I don't care what color you are or what language you speak. Our Republicans are in a lot of danger right now. And if the danger is coming from within, because it's not, the people that are in charge are not defending us. They're not protecting us. Look, I'm 67 years old. Most of this bad stuff is probably allowed to continue. It's going to be really, really bad. I'll already be gone. I'll already be gone. My children and grandchildren are going to have to live with the consequences of what's going on today. And that saddens me. That saddens me. People, you need to stand up. You need to write to your Congress people. And in numbers. We have 300 million people in the United States. Imagine them inundating the Congress with 300 million letters. Let them know we're not going to take it anymore. We need people to peacefully protest in Washington. Organize peacefully in Washington. Folks, I don't know what else to say, but I'm just going to ask God to please continue to watch over the United States and protect us, because our leaders ain't doing it. All right, folks, that's enough for tonight. Good night. God bless America.